Lewis Hamilton may continue racing until at least 2027, according to Ferrari boss Fred Vasseur. Seven-time Formula One world champion Hamilton is set to join Ferrari in 2025, ditching the Mercedes team with whom he has driven for since 2013. Max Verstappen refuses to believe about Red Bull's RB20 upgrades. Despite talk of diminishing gains and convergence, Max Verstappen refused to believe Red Bull have reached the performance ceiling, as that only leads to laziness. Red Bull dilemma with second driver simply screwed verdict ahead of Liam Lawson test? As Red Bull put Liam Lawson to the test in an outing that could decide Red Bull's 2025 driver lineup, if not that of this year's Dutch GP, Allard Kalf has warned no teammate will match Max Verstappen, as the second driver is simply screwed. Toyota return rumors gather pace after Haas garage footage unearthed. A report Toyota are eyeing a way back into Formula One with Haas was given credence at Silverstone, where Toyota Gazoo racing manager Masaya Kaji watched the action from inside the Haas garage. Carlos Sainz facing complicated F1 future after new driver market developments. Carlos Sainz says Red Bull and Mercedes' apparent return to F1 silly season hasn't made his 2025 decision more difficult, as it was always complicated. Helmut Marko addresses Red Bull engine rumors with emphatic five-word response. He has insisted the Red Bull engine program is on track despite some outsiders doubting its progress. Red Bull conduct private Silverstone test with 3 driver futures on the line, is set for a crucial day behind the wheel of Red Bull's RB20 on Thursday, with 200 kilometers of track time at his disposal to impress. Toyota pulled the plug on their Formula One project and waved the series goodbye at the end of 2009, but a shock 2025 comeback for the Japanese manufacturer could be on the cards. Several prominent F1 publications are reporting that Toyota is eyeing a comeback, and has held partnership talks with Haas to make it happen. Daniel Ricciardo's Red Bull future update as notable Silverstone test looms. Daniel Ricciardo was keen to point out, "I'm not getting my arse kicked by someone that's not very fast in Yuki Tsunoda," as Red Bull reserve Liam Lawson prepares for a potentially important Silverstone test. Fears over George Russell engine penalty as Mercedes reveal reasons behind W15 DNF. Fearing a potential grid penalty down the line, Mercedes explained their preventative step to retire George Russell from the British Grand Prix as a water system leak wrecked his race. Rumor had it that Alpine were considering moving away from the Renault Poo and becoming a customer team, Wolff confirming at the British Grand Prix that exploratory discussions have been held with the French manufacturer on this subject. Mercedes team principal Toto Wolff has insisted the squad's resurgent form in the last 2 Formula One races will not influence its decision-making process when choosing Lewis Hamilton's replacement. New Mercedes boost with sweet spot discovery tipped to make all the difference, winning the British Grand Prix on merit. Robert Dornbos believes Mercedes have found the sweet spot with W15 and that will make all the difference to their season. Lewis Hamilton makes bittersweet Mercedes exit claim as Ferrari move looms. Lewis Hamilton's victory at Silverstone isn't making him pang with regret over his decision to depart for Ferrari at the conclusion of the 2024 season. The victory comes at a time when Mercedes' form is very much in the ascendancy, having had a quiet start to the year with a grumpy W15. Fresh doubt emerges over Daniel Ricciardo's Red Bull future with Perez boost, and Helmut Marko says Red Bull still believes Sergio Perez can pull himself together despite widespread reports of a potential driver swap with Daniel Ricciardo. Efforts to improve Formula One's rules have been frustrated by the embarrassing outcomes of some team principals meetings, says McLaren Racing CEO Zak Brown. He believes F1's governance structure gives teams too much power to block rules changes. McLaren have only managed to win 1 Grand Prix in the 2024 Formula One season so far, but there could, and perhaps should, have been more. Lando Norris, for instance, saw his hopes of a home win in Britain dashed last week after a wrong tire change, but in terms of speed he probably had the fastest car. Just as the Briton could have had the best car in the previous races each time. After the British GP, Eddie Jordan was very appreciative of Lewis Hamilton and Mercedes. The former motorsport team boss celebrated what a great day it was for the British fans at the Silverstone circuit. After the weekend, Jordan praised Oscar Piastri for his performance on the Formula for Success podcast, despite the mistakes McLaren made over the weekend. Following the triple header, the F1 season is on pause for a week. This meant that Russell was able to attend Wimbledon on Wednesday alongside his girlfriend Carmen Montero Montt, whom he has been with since 2020. The Mercedes driver enjoyed the day off after a busy triple header where he won in Austria, and started on the pole at home in Silverstone before retiring during the race. Russell and Montt could be seen supporting Djokovic, as the Brit driver shared a series of pictures of them together on social media. Formula One and the FIA have today announced the venues that will host F1 sprint events during the 2025 season, with 6 circuits set to play host to the 100 km next season. In 2025, a year that will mark the 75th anniversary of the FIA Formula One World Championship and the 5th season of the sprint, São Paulo will keep up its run of hosting the sprint every year since 2021, while Belgium returns for the first time since 2023. Gasly backs experienced and valuable Sainz as preferred teammate at Alpine in 2025. He says that Carlos Sainz is his preferred choice of teammate at Alpine for 2025, with the Frenchman believing that the departing Ferrari driver is the most experienced and valuable option available. Valtteri Bottas has confirmed holding talks with Mercedes team principal Toto Wolff over a possible return but has dismissed the prospect of a one-year deal. After 3 years with the Sauber organization, it appears certain Bottas services are no longer required going forward as the team transitions from its current state guys into Audi in 2026. Red Bull Racing is in trouble. Currently, the Austrian racing stable is top of the constructors' standings, but partly due to a couple of bad weekends by Sergio Perez, the competition seems to be slowly closing in. After the British Grand Prix, Horner let it be known that he needs both Red Bulls in the battle for the championship. Stella expects responsibility from Norris and Piastri after Silverstone. Gone are the days when McLaren was overjoyed. With just a podium in Formula One, team boss Andrea Stella looked disappointed after missing out on victory at the British Grand Prix. The Italian believes there could have been more than P3 for the Woking-based team. Back in February, when Lewis Hamilton's shock 2025 move to Ferrari was announced, you could argue it made a lot of sense. His Mercedes team were in poor form and Ferrari looked to be on the up. Fast forward 5 months, and would Hamilton still make the same move, given Ferrari's current problems and Mercedes' winning resurgence? And is he now feeling any regret? He might regret moving for 2025 looking at Mercedes' current performance, trend, but Mercedes were not willing to offer him a deal taking him into the 2026 regulations. Ferrari were. Lewis talked about staying with Merck family for 3-4 years and then becoming a brand ambassador. Mercedes offered him a 1+1 deal for 24 and 25. Ferrari comes along and offered him the 2+1 deal and an ambassador role. Keep in mind Lewis had just carried Mercedes to second in the constructors in 2023, felt like he hadn't been listened to with the car for 22 and start of 2023, and was seeing little progress from Merck and watching Ferrari make changes and finish the 2023 season as second fastest car. He was probably asked the same question in 2012 when McLaren, for all purposes, looked to have the best all-round car but had reliability issues, and he chose to go to Mercedes, who was the 5th fastest car but was in building process. I think the trust was given to Brawn and Nicky to ensure Mercedes was his best chance going forwards. The same is true for Vasseur now. I think that without Fred there he wouldn't have the trust he needed in the project to take the jump. 2024 has proved a couple of things. Mercedes have a very fast driver in George Russell, at least over 1 lap, but Hamilton still has the legs and race trim now the car has been taken a step closer to the front. The other thing is Lewis, who was once the dominant qualifying driver, maybe doesn't have that pace anymore, but even at 39 years old, he is 1 to 2 tenths off some of the best over 1 lap on the grid, so it only took Lewis to be 15 years older for the others to finally get the edge over 1 lap on him. Age catches up with everyone. It caught Kimi, it caught Vettel earlier, it has caught Alonso. His results against Stroll prove that, and it is catching Lewis. Fact, Alonso and Lewis have remained at the top of the sport into their late 30s and 40s, shows just how monumentally talented they both were.